Welcome back, warriors.
Yay!
We are so grateful we get to do this and that you're here with us this week.
100%.
100%. Oh gosh, we are talking about Procrastination Station.
And what you don't know is that we procrastinated 20 minutes before hitting record.
So today, Abby and I decided, we talk a lot of business. We talk a lot about work, a lot about the podcast. And we were like, okay, we're going to record today and then have friendship chat. Yeah. We already screwed up because we talked, as Abby just sang to you all, for 25 minutes beforehand. So we're really good at procrastinating.
Yes. Which then impacts our time management. Ooh, what did you say?
I said procrastination anxiety warriors.
Ah, that's right. PAW. Paw.
See, we can't even get started without talking about random silliness, which is, I think, one more of our endearing qualities, right?
Totally. And that's the thing. It's like, all right, so procrastination for me causes anxiety, but I'm pretty sure my ADHD causes the procrastination. And it's because of things like that. Like you said, procrastination, anxiety warrior. And my brain was like, oh, paw. And then I just was thinking of like us as like animal anxiety warriors with paws.
What kind of animal would you be?
I mean, I instantly in my mind like had a cat or a dog, but I would be a painted dog. I love painted dogs.
You love painted dogs.
I do.
I see that for you. For me, I really want to say elephant, but they don't have paws.
No, so you can't be.
Work.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going with cheetah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm going with cheetah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's bring this train.
Excellent intro to our conversation.
We sincerely hope, warriors, that some of you out there listening and hopefully shaking your heads along are thinking, man, I can really relate to the sensation of not being able to get the train going in any given moment when you want to.
Yes. Okay, so what are things that you procrastinate on? I mean, I'm sure you could just say everything in life if you're anything like me, but what are some things that come up?
Okay, so some of the big, it is everything. It really feels like everything. And I want to just be like, everything, let's leave it there and move on. But some of the big ones are just like projects that scare me.
Yes.
But that I really want to do.
Oh, that's the worst.
Right.
That's the worst right there.
It's like, I want this. Why aren't I working to get it done?
Yes.
And this was beginning in childhood. Like I was just so disorganized and I would struggle to get my thoughts together. And it took so long. And now I'm 40 years old and I'm still struggling with it. Like it's better. Right. I've been able to do stuff, and even back in the day, I would wait until the last minute. And in some ways it would like fuel me and make me better and stronger. And I feel like some of my best work happened when I was like under pressure. But at the same time, I had all the anxiety of like, well, now I have no choice but to get this done today because it's due tomorrow. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the same thing was true like through adulthood. So I think the one that stands out the most is big projects that scare me, but that I really want. And then some of the more mundane things, it's just like putting off stuff around the house that I don't want to do. Like watching stuff pile up in our storage room in the basement and thinking both Adam and I have procrastination and adult ADHD. And so it's just like, we really have to get this done because it's piling up and it's becoming gross. And like we can't find stuff in our storage room.
Yeah.
But neither of us have the drive / motivation, I guess, to like make ourselves do it. And then like eventually the most awful part is like eventually when we get it done, we feel amazing and we're like, why aren't we doing this more often? And then we wouldn't have to do it once a year and have it be the most overwhelming project. We could just do it every 3 months. Yeah. And it's not overwhelming. And maybe we're done in half the time. It's like frustrating as all hell.
Right. Because you have the logic, but like the executive functioning to like do it.
Just like motivation. I have zero motivation for mundane tasks that don't feel fun or energizing.
Right. Even if he feels good after,
Yeah.
It's like to get over that hurdle. And everything I'm saying, I'm just speaking through the lens of my experience, like, because I can so relate to what you're saying. And so I'm putting myself in your shoes, but through my lens. But like, that's the thing. It's like, it's going to feel good afterwards.
Yes.
When it's done. But to get to that part is like so overwhelming.
Do it.
And like, does it take up space in your brain? Like, you don't think about it all the time, but anytime you see it, you're like, I should deal with that.
It's like whenever I walk by things that I know I need to get done or put away, or it's all about, a lot of my stuff comes from like organizing stuff. Like I struggle really hard to organize stuff.
Yes.
Which is why, you handle all of our itineraries. That's not the right word. Outlines.
Yeah.
Because it's like organizing the flow of the episode, right?
Yeah.
The things we're going to talk about.
Right.
And having that done for me is like, yay, that feels really awesome and supportive. And so like, I know that we're going to talk a little bit about ways that we combat, moving through the fact that we struggle with procrastination and have ADHD. But yeah, I mean, it just feels like you said, it's overwhelming. I want to get it done, but the idea of starting is just like too much sometimes.
Right.
I don't want to start because then I feel like if I have to stop or put it down, if I do start, I've got to keep going until it's done.
Right.
Who has time for that?
Right. Who wants to be interrupted in the middle? Exactly. Yeah. Because then you have to restart. You have to start again.
Right. You have to find more motivation a second time to do the task you don't want to do, or even the task you do want to do.
So, okay, wait. So do you ever have it where you are procrastinating on something, whether you want to do it or not, right? But in the procrastination, you're actually doing something else that you've been procrastinating on, but it's an easier task. Like for me, I sometimes procrastinate on like vacuuming or cleaning. But if there's another task that feels more overwhelming, I will procrastinate doing that task by doing something like mundane, like cleaning or reorganizing or whatever the hell I'm doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's okay. Oh my gosh, 100%. It's like both of these things suck, but one of them sucks a little more.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So like, I'm going to get done the easier of those two sucky things.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm just putting together that you said vacuuming and now I'm talking about sucking. So, and that's where my brain immediately goes. Right. And so I'm immediately like shiny object. We're not talking about that. And now it's like, okay, Margot, bring it back to the topic. It's so hard.
It's so hard. Yeah. Right. And then the thing is like with the cleaning that I've been putting off, I still feel like I'm being productive. Right. So I feel like, oh, I'm still worthy. I'm being productive. I'm adding to my household, which is then adding to my country. Right. Like
in that order.
Yes. That's how it goes, right?
That's right? First the household, then the country.
Yeah.
Boom.
But that's it. That's how productivity works. It starts from within and it ripples out.
It's true.
Yeah. But now see, my brain got lost in a tangent there. But basically with the cleaning, it's like the instant feel good. Right. Even though the other thing is the thing that would feel much better if I actually did it. Yeah.
Because it's bigger and more important.
Yes.
Right. I mean, not that vacuuming and keeping a tidy house isn't important. You need a clean workspace, a living space in order to be able to function optimally. Right. Like those things are valuable. And it's like what you said really landed for me. It's like you could pat yourself on the back for getting something that you were putting off done, even though it's not going to feel as good as getting that bigger thing done would feel.
Right. Like you procrastinate on chores until you need to procrastinate on something else. And then it's like, let me do my chores. Like,
yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh, it's like a perfect example. I had a birthday a couple of weeks ago and I got a bunch of wonderful, lovely gifts from friends and family. And I still haven't found a home for all of them yet.
Oh gosh. Oh,
and it's just feeling. Like, they're just like sitting on the floor next to me right now while we podcast. And it's like this glaring reminder.
Find me a home.
Put me away, please.
Yeah, I want to feel organized and have a place of my own.
And and once they're away, I'm going to be like, right. You do the exhale of like, okay, now that's done. Why did I wait 2 weeks to do this?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's no answer.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's no answer.
I don't have one.
Yeah. Especially like with this day and age where it's just so easy for our minds to constantly get distracted. There's procrastination. And then there's also like distracted, which leads to a different form of procrastination. So it's just never ending.
It's never ending. All right. So how does procrastination make you feel?
Oh my God. Okay. So, so first, when I was thinking about this topic, I just feel like I need to like paint out we were talking a lot about our brains today. So when I think about procrastination, I actually think of procrastination like personified, right? And procrastination is a little bit of like a cool thing. I don't know what it is. And it's not a human, but it's like cool, but it's also like slippery, right? It's like,
okay.
So like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down and journal, right? This is a terrible example already, but I'm going to sit down and journal. And then procrastination like knocks on the door and is like, hey, remember that thing? Or, hey, someone just knocked on the door. Or like procrastination just is so good at distracting me from everything. Hey, before you journal, remember you got to check to see if something you ordered got shipped yet. It's like... Yeah. Like procrastination is so good at stopping me from the thing that I'm planning on doing, right? No matter like what it is, right? And it's always a different thing. Hey, remember you were going to put the dishes in the dishwasher before you started this project? Oh, well, you're right. Procrastination. I guess I should follow you down and leave the thing I was about to start, right? Yeah. Oh, now you can't start. You have to do this other thing. So when I think about procrastination and how procrastination makes me feel, it's like a double-edged sword, because procrastination like reminds me of other things I was planning on doing, right? Like, and procrastination is like acting like it cares, and it's like, like keeping my brain engaged and entertained. But ultimately, by procrastinating, I just feel overwhelmed and stressed and like too many thoughts in my brain all the time, because I'm always thinking of all the things that I want to be doing rather than actually doing them, because procrastination is telling me to do other stuff.
Right. Oh my gosh.
That was my long-winded way, but you see where
100%.
I had to paint the picture so you could understand, like, there's good things about procrastination, right? Like procrastination sometimes leads me to like scroll Instagram, which is bittersweet because I feel like utter crap, but also then I see funny things or I learn something new, right?
Right.
I've learned more about ADHD from scrolling on Instagram, right? So procrastination helped me understand more of myself.
Yeah.
But also it takes away from the things that are important to me, right? So that's like how it makes me feel. But then the other part of it is like, with procrastination is it's like, it depends on what it is, because if it's me trying to file my taxes, that procrastination could go on for like months until the deadline. Right? It's just sitting on me. And it's so much harder, like as an independent contractor, to file your taxes. You have to like think about more shit. Right. But if it's like, sitting down and like creating a new course, I'm so excited. But then it's like perfectionism comes in with procrastination and is like, are you sure you're ready to start? Maybe you need to read more. Maybe you need to do more of this. Yeah. Maybe you're just not in the mood to sit down and write. Maybe you should go for a walk and give yourself a voice memo, And so sometimes perfectionism shows up with procrastination and she's like, oh, you're not ready for this. And then procrastination's like, I got a great idea. Let's do this instead. And it'll help you with perfectionism, but it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the hamster wheel of just living in a place where you're expected to do a million things in a day.
Yes.
In order to feel productive. And like, you've put your stamp on the day, like, which is bullshit, but it's so hard that we've been trained for decades of our lives to think this way.
What did we do before email for work? What did we do before work email?
I mean, I have no idea. I don't even remember. I mean, like, and we grew up in a time where we didn't have email.
No. Right. And then when we first did have email, it was like kind of like having a pen pal.
Yeah.
You know,
right. It was like forwarding, pictures of like cartoon clippings and stuff.
Yes. Or like a picture of a hamster. That's what I thought of a hamster. I don't know why.
Chainmail.
Yes. Right. Or like, hey, friend from camp.
Right.
I can't believe we're now connected on this. Like, right. Like, but now it's like 20, 30 emails a day, most of them crap, but you still have to like go through it and organize it. It's like our brains aren't designed for the amount of things we have to think about these days.
Mm-hmm. So much of what you're saying reminds me of like our relationship to anxiety. It's like our relationship to procrastination is similar to our relationship to our anxiety, and that anxiety is there for a reason. It's designed, it can be helpful at times, right? To protect us, to keep us safe, to teach us about, how our body responds to various stimuli and things like that. And I always like to think of anxiety as like, she's my teacher and my like frenemy, right?
Yes.
Bertha,
Yeah.
we all know Bertha. Yeah. And so I like what you said about just, you were personifying your relationship, right, to procrastination, and it has its negatives and its positives, just like any strong way of being or emotion or all of that. So, I mean, and I could just deeply resonate with literally, unsurprisingly, everyone, right, with literally everything you shared, because Glennon Doyle, my like queen, she's always saying like, we can do hard things, but we can't do easy things. Sometimes easy things are the hardest things in reality. It's like, she'll just go ahead and start like an amazing nonprofit that does nothing but collect funds for, let's say a lot of things, but let's just say for battered women or for people at the border or whatever the situation. But she can't, remember to close the cabinets in her kitchen. Yes. Right. And so it's like, I really resonate with that. And I think some of that is like what we're going to talk about next, which is just like how ADHD and perfectionism, like you kind of just mentioned, confuses with procrastination, right? It's like the three of these things I feel like are so intertwined, or at least they are for me. And it sounds like they are for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say they lead to anxiety. Like those three things, when they're interacting and they're hanging out and they're having fun, then anxiety is like, hey, can I join? Can I join? Hey, what's going on? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my God, this is so much. It's so overwhelming. Oh my God, now you're thinking about this and now you're thinking about, it's like, oh no, just lay down and check out now. Right. So like anxiety.
You can't do it all. So go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like to me, it's like the anxiety's there the whole time, but then she just shows herself. So it's not like it comes, for me, it doesn't feel like it comes afterward. It's always there for, I feel it always. And then it just presents like, you've called me to the surface.
Yes. I like this. I feel like she was like a mermaid coming out of the water with the I was
doing Elsa summoning her. I was doing Elsa building her castle.
Here I saw Ariel. So at least we were in the Disney theme,
More unsurprising factoids.
See, I feel like I always have, a smidge of anxiety with me, right? But it isn't, sometimes like I'm genuinely excited to do something. I'm like, oh, I am excited to sit down. I'm feeling focused. I'm feeling refreshed. I'm ready to do this task. And then and then perfectionism, ADHD, and procrastination show up. Right. And then for me, anxiety is like, we can't do it. That's it. It's over. Like, sorry. Try tomorrow. So, okay, wait. So I haven't heard from you. How does procrastination make you feel?
It makes me feel frustrated.
Yes.
It makes me mad at myself.
Yes.
Not compassionate.
Yes. Do you do a lot of shoulding? Like, do you should on your... I'm a grown-up. I should do better.
Yes.
I should. Yes.
Yes. It's just a lot of shame. I feel ashamed that it's taken me so long to do something. And a lot of times I'm not mad at the task, although I wish some of them I didn't have to do. I'm mad at me for not doing it in a timely, air quotes, manner, or putting it off. And maybe it would have been better if you had done it earlier and had more time to think about it. But then the other part of me is like, but then you would have overthought it. And then that's different kind of anxiety, right? Some of the overthinking and the perfectionism and all that stuff. So it's like, I want to say that more often than not, it makes me frustrated and shameful and angry at myself, but it also feels like it's protecting me somehow. Like, I'm not really sure. I'm not going to articulate it well, but for some reason it feels like it's protecting me from the overthinking. Putting it off, waiting, doing it at closer to a deadline. And if we're talking about more mundane things like vacuuming, right? That just has to get done, but that isn't really going to impact anyone but the people living in my house. Right. Yeah. It's just kind of like, it feels like a little bit of a shield. In some ways. I don't know if that's making sense, but
totally. I mean, when you said protecting, like my brain was like, it's protecting her from the suffering of capitalism. I don't know why my brain went there, but that's kind of, but when you were talking about like cleaning, right? Like the chores in our house only impact us until someone's coming over. Like how many times do you do the mad dash of like, oh my God, someone's coming over. Now we need to do everything in the house at once. And like, but it feels good, but it's like, oh my God, if I had just done a little bit of this every single day, I wouldn't have to do this mad rush of cleaning.
Yeah. It's like for me, I mean, if we're going to stick with the cleaning, it's like everything is tidy and where it belongs, right? Things are dusted and mostly cared for. But like when people are coming over, it's like scrub every corner and crevice, make sure everything's vacuumed. It's just, for some reason it's very motivating. I will say, it's like the deadline feels good in a way. It makes me feel like, okay, now I have this time frame that I'm gifted to get the shit done. Right. And so that's how I feel like it's protecting me in a way. It's like, you don't want to do this throughout the day, throughout the week. You have too many other things to think about. Cleaning, vacuuming the carpets isn't the most important thing. No one's seeing it but you, Adam, Hurley, and they don't care. Right. And so and it's also Adam's job to vacuum. Right. So like, my point is just that we share that job. I just meant like, it's not like it's just me vacuuming or cleaning everything.
Right.
And so it feels like, it feels supportive in a way to have a deadline, because then I feel like, okay, now I've been given the gift of a specific time frame to get something done.
And that is what, I mean, helped and like hurt me like all through college was like, for me, like I've shared how hard it is for me to sit down and write, to organize my thoughts, because my brain goes all over the place. Right. And I was never in high school or college taught how to take my thoughts and turn them into this like organized way of thinking. Right. I might have had really good ideas. I might have like been critically thinking about stuff that I was taught and questioning stuff. But if I didn't have the framework, like my teachers would not give me good grades. Right. Because it needed the framework. And so for me, like all through college, I procrastinated on writing papers because of executive functioning. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that I had a hard time starting because I didn't know how to start. Right. Like just dive into the body of the paper. Right. And just write. We're good. But to have like the way that you're supposed to write like English papers. Right. I just didn't have that framework.
Yeah.
And so I will say that, I, like you, I do feel a lot of shame and everything. And I wish I was better. And it's extremely frustrating, especially when it's something I want to do, but I can't figure out how to start. But understanding that some of it is me lacking the executive functioning skill has helped me with the compassion piece.
Right. Yeah.
Because I didn't know any of that and I think that's really helpful for other grownups, right? Like I remember even like when I was like a teenager or in my 20s, when I was living with my parents, my mom might ask me to help with chores, but if she didn't give me a very specific time she wanted it done, I never started it. And then she would end up doing it. And then we would have some frustration between each other. Right.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was like, what's wrong with me? Am I lazy? Why can't I just start it? But the expectation of time has always helped me. So even when like I think about like wanting to complete creative projects, I have to remember to give myself a time frame. whether it be you sit for 30 minutes and whatever comes out, or whether it be, okay, just write this first bit today and you don't have to think about anything else again until you're ready to think about the next bit, or have a first draft done by X date. And all of that is hard for me to remember. I forget to give myself those clear expectations to help set myself up to do the thing.
Yeah. No, it's a skill, right? It is a skill that we weren't really taught in school, how to like organize anything, let alone, your thoughts.
Yeah.
They're coming a mile a minute in your mind, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. No, I think, that's a great way to kick off like us talking about how we practice moving through. Like for me, what you said about learning that some of what you deal with when you're procrastinating is due to that part of your mind, right? This sort of limited executive function in that aspect, right? And that part of it reminded me a lot of learning about myself having adult ADHD, right? And it's like since learning about that and reading a lot more about it and coming to understand that like I definitely had this as a child too and was not diagnosed with this. But that it's helped me with the compassion more often than not, even though I do struggle with having compassion for myself when I feel like I'm not getting something done when I want to, or feel like I should, or whatever. And some of that's just bullshit, expectation I'm laying on myself, but it also has helped to some extent too. Just learning like, hey, this isn't just you being a lazy piece of shit. Like you're saying
many like, people struggle fitting into a neurotypical world.
Exactly. Yeah. So like really quickly, I found this great thing on Healthline about the symptoms of adult ADHD. And since we both have that and we've been bringing it up. So warriors, when you hear these 15 things, see if any of them land for you as well. So we have lack of focus or hyper focus, right? It's like one or the other or both. Disorganization, time management, forgetfulness, impulsivity, emotional concerns, negative self-image, lack of motivation, restlessness and anxiety, fatigue. Physical, this is pretty blanket, but like other physical health concerns, relationship concerns, and substance misuse, right? Like so many of these things to me, like not all of them are ever present, but a lot of them are.
And
have been for a long
time.
Especially
like in my 20s, like everything you just said, like I drank alcohol to make myself feel better because I had all of those symptoms and just constantly thought there was something wrong with me. Right. I went to a sleep doctor. We don't know why you're excessively sleepy, but you are. Like, it's like, hi, ADHD, just all of that. Like, I'm so glad you read that because again, it's just super, super validating. And it's like even stuff like auditory processing disorder goes along with ADHD. Didn't know that, right? Just thought that I had issues around learning by people who are just speaking at me, right? Like many other things. So no, I just think it's super validating to know there's nothing wrong with you. These are all skills you can work on. It's possible to make changes, right? That's probably why mindfulness and yoga helped me so much with like impulsivity and emotional regulation. Still not there, but I've worked on it.
That's why it's a practice.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just so validating. And I think, it presents differently in men and women. And when we were kids, since we weren't jumping out of our seats and we learned how to mask a lot more of our challenges, we got unnoticed in the struggles we were having.
Right. Or girls were more likely to be diagnosed with anxiety and depression than ADHD.
Right.
And boys were more likely to be diagnosed with ADHD as opposed to anxiety and depression, when a lot of the symptoms do overlap, but like without, a very specifically trained professional diagnosing, right? Either or both, you could have easily been misdiagnosed and then been caused some harm too, depending on what the treatments were. If there were any treatments,
right.
So I'm curious, like, what are some of the ways that you have been able to move through procrastinating and overcoming some of it?
I will just say that I still to this day, even though I didn't get it back then, feel grateful that I was given the diagnoses of anxiety and ADHD in my early 20s. And for a long time, I related more to the anxious side of things because I was misinformed on how ADHD presents in women and girls. But even like I won most talkative in my high school. Do you know that that's a symptom of ADHD? That's the hyperactivity in women, right? Anyway, so I just feel grateful that I had at least a little awareness, like, oh, you have ADHD. And I've been able to learn more and more over time. But I would say for me, the way that I really like the first part is I do have more compassion, even though there's still shame. There is frustration. There is wishing I could be more motivated to start and complete a task.
Right.
I definitely have more empathy and compassion for myself. And that also extends to other people, right? It's like, okay, I have no idea what their executive functioning skills are like. I can be a little bit more gentle with people and offer suggestions that help me, like clear expectations and timeline.
Right.
And then, the other thing that I want to get better at is, and I've said this before, is being more clever than my habits. Because like I said, procrastination is slippery, right? That's like the word that Lauren Chadoff used when she was talking about the mind is slippery.
Yes.
And that's kind of how I feel about procrastination. Like it just shows up, right? And instead of me impulsively being like charmed by it or enamored by it or curious by it or annoyed by it, right? Like I just impulsively follow it. And I'd rather be able to pause and really ask myself, what is procrastination trying to help me avoid right now? Right? Is it like doing my taxes and maybe like, okay, maybe it's worth pursuing something else right now and setting some time for my taxes unless it's like due the next day, right? Or is it some creative endeavor? And so for me, what I really want to get better at, but I'm not yet, is being able to pause and companion myself in the moment to be like, what are you resisting doing right now?
Yeah.
And then like, honestly, very soon I'm like deleting Instagram off my phone and I just want to see what changes for a week, 2 weeks, whatever it might be. That even now I'm getting anxiety thinking about that. And just see with more time, with less chance of being distracted by social media, what might shift. So that's me. What about you? How do you move through it?
Yeah. Definitely some of those things you just shared are things that I'm actively working harder at myself, especially the self-compassion piece, because my first go-to is to be angry with myself, to be frustrated and to shame. And so reminding myself that my brain can only hold so many things in a day. I've said it before, I'll keep saying it, using affirmations is always supportive to me. So like saying things out loud to myself in the mirror or just out loud in general. Somatic holds are always supportive and they do support me through this as well. But the big ones are figuring out what are the main 3 things that I need to tackle in a day. So like it may not have to do with a specific project or an activity or a chore or work thing or whatever, but like it's Wednesday. What are the main 3 things I need to do today? And write them down and give myself a general time frame for them, depending on what my work schedule looks like that for that day, because I have a little bit less control over that to a certain extent. And then tackle those 3 things. Yeah. And then everything else can be looked at as a bonus.
Right.
And like looking at those things that are extra as a bonus and like calling out those wins, right? And saying, you didn't have, thing 4, 5, and 6 on your list, but you got them done like for today, right? Maybe I can take tomorrow's list and add a couple of things that, I have time for that. I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah.
And so like giving myself boundaries and expectations for time with the ability of like making it a little bit less rigid, depending on what it is. But then I like 3s. To me, having a number that feels that picking a number that feels palatable for me. And 3 happens to be that number. And so getting myself to feel organized feels so challenging. Right. And so writing down 3 things that have to happen today and committing to those 3 things feels sustainable and practical and wonderful. And I can cross them all off and yay, a win. And then if I get some other shit done, amazing. You're a freaking rock star, right?
Right.
And turning to myself and being like, I'm so proud of you. You got extra stuff done.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and just like you said, I'm working on the self-compassion piece. I'm working on not being mad at my own brain, because that's certainly not going to help me feel less anxious about stuff.
Right.
And trying to give myself realistic goals and create opportunities for those small wins, which we know are really big wins.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. I love that. We know that the small wins are actually really big wins, and they are.
Especially when you procrastinate.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You get those 3 things done, like celebrate.
That's right. Celebrate everything. Everything you get done, celebrate it. Even if it's like vacuuming, right? You got the vacuuming done. Throw yourself a little fucking dance party, everyone.
That's right. I get to vacuum and now I get to have a clean rug.
Exactly.
Yippee.
Yay. And since you and I are both prone to laying on the floor for lots of reasons, it's good to lay on a clean carpet.
Yes. Agreed.
Oh gosh. Okay. So warriors, we would love it if you took some time today or this week to reflect on your relationship with procrastination. If you have a relationship with procrastination, maybe this does not show up for you and you're just listening to us for the last, little bit thinking, how is this even a thing?
Maybe people function.
Right. How have they been able to have careers and, amazing courses on Insight Timer and a children's book and all of these amazing projects that at the end of the day, we can feel really great about and proud of, that we were able to push through our fear, our anxiety, our procrastination, our ADHD and perfectionism and all the things, and actually, have wonderful, fulfilling lives. And so if you are like us and you have a relationship with procrastinating, even if it's a great relationship, a not so great relationship, maybe there are some active practices that you are out there thinking about or working on currently, or maybe hopefully you've heard us say a couple of things that make you think, I could work on that a little bit.
I could do 3 things.
I could do 3 things. Right, exactly. Or I could practice more self-compassion, right? So take the time you need or would like to. We won't force you to, warriors, to think about it. And
don't procrastinate on thinking about it.
Don't think about it right now. Here's your time frame right now before this episode ends. Pause it actually and think about your relationship to procrastination, and then hit play again so you can hear the end. All right. So we have a shared Mabby
Win of
the week. Mabby win this week, both of us. We agreed pretty recently that we were going to do our best to stick to 30-minute episodes.
I don't know if we did a full win right today. Close.
We're really close.
We're close.
And I'm still looking at it as a win because more generally, all of our episodes where it's just you and me are not anywhere near this short.
That's true.
And so this commitment, and you've heard now recently, warriors, a lot of our previous episodes now have been on the shorter side. Like most of our double Margot Abby episodes are between 45 minutes and an hour, typically speaking.
Yep.
And so we're working on getting it a little bit shorter to be a little bit more concise with you all and for ourselves.
And our time management, our boundaries, making longer episodes eats into a lot of other areas of our life and stuff. And so we are trying to set us up for success.
Right.
And it's been feeling good so far. We've just started. This is like our 2nd week, 3rd week.
Yeah. It's been pretty recent, but we realized that we were feeling a little burnt out by the length of our episodes. And even though we love connecting and talking about anxiety and with each other, we can get more done in a day together if our episodes are a little shorter. And we know that so many of you, your attention spans might be not able to take on 45 minutes to an hour of a conversation. So we're proud of ourselves for that. And we're looking at it as our win this week.
Woohoo!
Pushing past our perfectionism and our, struggle with ADHD and procrastination and thinking, we've committed to this a little bit shorter of a time frame, and we're doing pretty good so far.
Yes.
And we can celebrate it. Okay, warriors, we love you so, so much. If you'd like to connect with us, you can join us on Instagram. We're at Anxiety Warriors Podcast, or you can feel free to shoot us an email at anxietywarriorspodcast@gmail.com. Shout out your wins of the week. Let us know if you have any great topic ideas for us, things you'd like to hear us chat about on the pod, or if you think you'd be an awesome fit as a guest on our show. Let's get it on the calendar. Shoot us an email, DM us on Instagram, and we'd love to hear from you. And please take 2 seconds, smash that 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you are listening right now, or in multiple places. Maybe you switch it up every week. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hop into the show notes and head on over to our Threadless shop. We have some kick-ass merch over there with just like the world's best logos and designs. Control enthusiast, excuse me. What else do we got? Recovering people pleaser.
Yep.
And pretty soon we're going to have
Warrior.
recovering perfectionist up there.
Yep. That'll be coming up soon.
This is a good episode for that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, our classic 80s and 90s style anxiety warrior designs. So warriors, we love you so much. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you all so much for going on this journey with us. We are so grateful that we get to do this with you.
Till next time.